Hey Moyo Nation, it's another Motivation Monday. That's right, another start of a new week. Are you ready for the new week? There's always challenges, but we're ready for it because we know we're going to make the most of every opportunity everywhere we go. Yesterday I was running this same exact pathway and I came upon a tree that was budding some tiny little pine cones. Now I love this time of year because the trees are all starting to bloom and you can start to see the leaves peeking out. But I came upon this tree that I'll be to in just a minute, and they had these tiny little pine cones budding from the tree. But one thing I noticed as I stood there and actually took a picture of the pine cones, I looked down in the street and there were a bunch of small pine cones that had fallen from the tree and were laying in the street. And I thought, these pine cones that are connected to the tree are still connected to their source. They still can get the nutrients. The rain can fall from the ground, be soaked up by the roots of the tree, and the nutrients flow through the stump and the trunk and out the branches and right into those pine cones. But those ones that are on the ground that have fallen to the street, that no longer have that connection, they have no chance. They can't survive because they've lost their connection. They're still a pine cone, but they're on the ground, out of their connection, and they can't survive. And it brought me to think, what is my connection? Am I connected to my power source? Because if I'm not, I might as well be a pine cone laying in the street with no hope. No hope of bearing fruit, no hope of giving encouragement, no hope of succeeding if I'm not connected to my source. Well, here's this tree that inspired me yesterday. And as we walk up, here are the little small pine cones still attached to their source. But if we look down into the street, there are pine cones that have fallen. Just the beginning of a pine cone in its earliest stage, with all the potential in the world, but no longer connected to its source. And it's never going to grow to be what it could have been as a pine cone. And it's the same exact thing for us. If we are not connected to our source of strength, our source of power, we will never grow, we will never mature, we will never achieve the potential we were meant to achieve. Now for me, my source, my strength is God. I believe John 15:5, when it says, Jesus is talking to me, he says, I am the vine. If you're connected to me, if you abide in me, then you will bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing. You can't grow to your potential. You can't maximize your potential. You can't live the life you were meant to live. You can't make the most of the opportunity that God put inside. That's my source. In these times of trial, chaos, and fear, you better be connected to your source, or you're like that little pine cone in the street. No chance to grow, no chance to become what you were meant to be, no chance to touch the people you were meant to touch because you're not connected to the source. So on this Motivation Monday, I've got one question for you. What is your source? You better know what your source is. And then I've got one challenge. Connect to your source. Connect to the power. Connect to the strength that makes you what you are. And you will make the most of every opportunity. And we'll mow everywhere we go. Happy Motivation Monday.